We were just saying in the pregame how good the Phillies are in one-run games. We were just saying in the pregame how much better Aaron Nola has pitched. We were just saying in the pregame that Pittsburgh and rookie pitcher Quinn Priester should, oh, by the way, who lowered his ERA tonight to 9.19. We're just saying how the Phillies should have had every opportunity, did have every opportunity, Ricky Bo, to win that game. What happened tonight?
The Phillies, number one, were 3 for 11 with runners in. We're going to start here. 3 for 11 with runners in scoring position. You know who got those 3 hits? The 8 and 9 hitters. Rojas had a hit, Cave had a hit, and Marsh had a big 3-run double or triple, whatever it was. I don't even care. I am so discouraged by what happened. The Pirates tried giving you a baseball game. They walked you 9 times. And by the way, these weren't great at-bats by the Phillies. This was horrible pitching. Horrible pitching. And you went out there and you go 3 for 11. Why? Now you ask me why. How about 1 for 15, your number 1 through 4 hitters? Who are your money hitters? 1 through 4, right? 1 for 15 in this ball game. Those are the guys that got to step back up. You know who needs a day off? Nick Castellanos needs a day off. Okay? Not Trey Turner. Nick Castellanos needs a day off. He has been struggling ever since the All-Star break. He struggled again tonight. Bryce Harper struck out 4 times in this game tonight. And Aaron Nola was awful. That was the worst I've seen him. Granted, he did not get any defensive help. I thought Castellanos could have made a play. Obviously, Harper had a rough error in that one. And then Marsh, I thought, should have come up with at least 1 ball, if not 2.
Yeah, they gave away both sides of the ball, so to speak. They could not score the runs they needed to score against Pittsburgh, and they failed to prevent Pitt from scoring those runs. Let's go out to Pittsburgh, check in with Ruben Amaro Jr., call tonight's game with Tom McCarthy. Tom, Rube, on the 2 counts of the bats just failing to produce in situations that called for it, and then Aaron Nola tonight, who had been pitching so much better in the month of July, really faltered this evening.
Yeah, it wasn't a pretty baseball game, and it was. You're right, Ricky. I think that the Pittsburgh Pirates are trying to give the Phillies this game, and they just didn't take it. I mean, they had some opportunities to drive some runs in with a couple of pretty good at bats with runners in scoring position. Couldn't get it done. You know, the bottom of the lineup actually, and the young guys, Stott and Bohm, Cave even, and even the kid Rojas had very good at bats in key situations, and we couldn't get the same sort of production out of the big boys in the top part of the order, and it just wasn't a pretty baseball game. Aaron Nola couldn't throw strikes with his stuff. Just didn't have it tonight. He didn't really get a lot of support defensively either, and so all around not the best ball game. They battled and stayed in it, but it's a game they probably could have won had they played a little bit cleaner baseball, and that really hurts them.
And you talk about strikeouts, one guy who had a rough game tonight, Bryce Harper, 1 for 5 in this game with 4 of those strikeouts that you're talking about. Also had a costly error in the field. What are your thoughts on his swing right now to start with?
Yeah, I just didn't think he was seeing the ball all that well, and maybe a little overly aggressive because he wasn't swinging at a lot of strikes today. In fact, most of the punch-outs that they had were swinging at pitches that were out of the zone. And to me, that just shows me that they're probably trying to do maybe a little bit too much. And instead of letting sort of the game come to them, which is what you're seeing out of the young guys, you typically would see it be the reverse. But right now, I think some of the guys, unfortunately, some of those veteran guys are struggling sort of at the same time. Kyle Schwarber actually had some really good at-bats again today and did swing a little bit out of the zone against Bednar, but he'd been very good and very disciplined over the last couple of games. It was nice to see him being able to see the ball a little bit better. But some of the other guys, Castellanos, Harper, as you said, you know, and Turner until today, they got a couple of knocks or swung the bat pretty well today, did Turner. That was a good sign. It's just a matter of those guys letting the game come to them, and sometimes you get in these ruts where you're just swinging at pitches that are out of the zone.
Yeah. Ruben, back to Aaron Nola and trying to figure him out. The bullpen backs him up good. Unfortunately, he gave up 5 earned runs in 4 2/3 innings, 6 strikeouts, 98 pitches. ERA goes up to 4.43. It was significantly under 4 going into tonight's game for the month of July. What is going to be with Aaron Nola in this free agent year?
Yeah, it all kind of depends on whether he has his legs underneath him. It looked like he tired maybe a little bit. He really struggled out of the stretch to pinpoint any of his pitches. He was, he's typically, we talked about it during the broadcast, he typically throws a lot of strikes, and he commands his stuff pretty well. Did not do that tonight, and the Pirates sort of took advantage of it. When he hung a breaking ball, they were jumping on it, and they were staying pretty disciplined on some of the pitches that he was throwing out of the zone. Not really an Aaron Nola-esque effort tonight, because he'd been throwing the ball pretty darn well in his first 4 starts in July. Just couldn't get it done tonight. It's one of those things where he just didn't have it and didn't have his command, and unfortunately the Phillies paid. And they didn't really support him all that well. It was a ball out in right field that clanked off of Castellanos' glove, a tough play that was over his head.
Marsh,
he couldn't
same
make
thing
that
in center.
play. That sort of opened things up in that inning, and then Marsh sort of makes a questionable decision as far as whether or not he should have pulled up. Probably should have pulled up a little earlier, let that ball drop instead of trying to make a play. Understand that he was trying to make a play for his pitcher and get him out of the inning, but sometimes, especially in the middle of the game, you don't want like disaster type things to happen, and that's exactly what happened in that situation.
After the first inning, we were, only half tongue-in-cheek. We were watching the game. We're saying no hitter for Aaron Nola. He looks so good.
He looked really good
He's
early
playing
on.
a lowly Pittsburgh team that's got the third worst record in the National League. And when he's pitching well, what does he do well that enables him to win versus what you saw tonight?
Well, it's a command of his fastball. I mean, his last outing, he didn't throw his breaking ball nearly as much as his fastball, and because he was commanding it so well. When he commands the fastball on both sides of the plate, outside, inside, and then that makes his breaking ball that much more effective. Today, just couldn't command it as well, and they took advantage of that. Again, he didn't get a whole lot of rest. Sometimes, he had that one really long inning, and then it was like and the Phillies came up to hit and had like, a 6 or 7 pitch inning.
Yeah. When
Harper got thrown out at second base, and then there was 2 ground balls to third base. It was maybe a 6 pitch inning for Priester, and it really didn't give Aaron Nola a breather. And with the pitch clock running as quickly as it does, it can speed up on guys, and it has taken its toll at times on Nola, and I think that's sort of what happened in that following inning, and he just couldn't get out of the rut.
Yeah, it was the top of the 5th for the Phillies. Castellanos, Harper, boom, bing, bang, boom, they're out of there.
Yep.
And then the Pirates come up and they put all those runs on them. All right, my friend, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. Appreciate it for
guys.
the finale. Ruben Amaro Jr. joining us from Pittsburgh, and here are the wild card standings. Now, before
This
you
is
say,
going to be a seesaw.
Yeah, well, I hope not. I mean,
This is going to be, I'm telling, just for your heart, it's going to be a seesaw. It just is. I don't know if any of these teams have that to just pull away. I really don't.
I thought the Phillies did. Especially
and one
the way
of those
they've been
two
playing.
teams is going to be gone.
Look, going into tonight's games, the Phillies had the second best record in baseball to the Atlanta Braves going back to June 3rd. So, I thought the Phillies did. By the way, their game's still ongoing right now, so the Phils may well be in that third wild card spot.
They have to be in it.
Yeah. Well,
because the Brewers and Reds are in the same division.
They're correct. One of them will be in first base, first place by the end of the night.
So the Phillies will sneak in there.
Right.
But you know what? My whole point of this game, I mean, obviously you watch another team, and if I'm getting frustrated with the other team's pitchers, can you imagine a Pirates fan actually watching? You were watching this mess. It was a mess. When you go out there and you take a 3-run lead, and all of a sudden you can't throw a strike. I mean, that's beautiful for the Phillies, but they didn't take advantage of it.
Yep.
They got 10 free passes. Freebies. By the way, here you go. Just put a man on base. 10 of them in a game. They scored only on 3.
9.28 was Quinn Priester's earned run average. It's now all the way down to 9.19, as we mentioned. And you would have thought.
I got to tell you this much. He probably should have came out after that 5th inning. That was a long inning. That was a 35-minute inning. I think the Phillies the Pirates were hitting for when they sent 9 men to the plate. That, to me, I would have taken that pitcher out of there. At least let him leave with some confidence. That was a bad move for the Pirates.
Rookie
bad move.
pitcher Nick Castellanos since the All-Star break, 7 for 60. This is Castellanos, 21 strikeouts, 117 batting average. With bases loaded in July, numbers right in front of you. .087 batting average, 2 for 23, a home run, 12 RBI, and 9 strikeouts, 4 walks.
Wow.
And that's terrible. But Castellanos looks lost.
He looks like he's feeling for the baseball again. I mean, he should take his own advice. Relax himself. Let the ball come to you. Let it get as deep as possible. If you see him getting as deep as possible means you trust your hands at the plate. You're letting the ball get as deep towards the catcher as you possibly can before you make a decision to swing. Does he look like he's doing that right now? No, he's out on his front leg, kind of trying to reach for the baseball. Just simple. Simplify what you're doing out there. I would say the same for Trey Turner. But Trey Turner right now is in the 1-and-1. One at bat, he's reaching. The next at bat, he's letting the ball get to him. So he's kind of on his way in a more positive role, I think.
Yeah.
I think Nick Castellanos is just digging himself a little bit of a hole right now.
That last strikeout there that we showed, it just looked bad.
And by the way, I talk about first pitch strikes.
Was.
We know that they walked a ton of guys tonight. Their starter, Mr. Priester, 12 for 25 first pitch strikes. You wonder why he walks a lot of guys. 12 for 25, you're getting behind the count.
Yeah.
How about Bednar? He got out of this too. 1 for 7. He got lucky.
Yeah. We're going to hear from Nick Castellanos a little bit later on his struggles and tonight's loss. Meanwhile, here's Rob Thomson in Pittsburgh.
Kind of a slog for Nola there in the middle innings.
Yeah, I thought he was good early. Now, it was tough background. Our guys were having trouble seeing, but I thought he was good early. I thought his breaking ball was sharp, throwing strikes. And then he just, made some mistakes. He hung the breaking ball to the 9-hole hitter for the home run. And, the 5th inning, we didn't help him out very much. And, I thought we could have caught a couple balls in the outfield. The Harper error, which, he just rushed on it. And he still had to play at first base, but again, he rushed. It's the body clock thing that he's got to get used to. So, and that'll get better. But, Noel's made a couple mistakes. I thought, the walks were really the key. 3 walks. It's a little bit more than usually what he gives up. So.
What do you mean background is tough to see?
Just when it's shade on the mound and that green background, it's the glare. Okay. It's tough sometimes to pick the ball up.
Okay. What have you made of Marsh's defense at center lately?
He's been fine. He tried to get that ball in the air and it just kicked off his glove. But I think he's been fine in the outfield, really.
And the 2 balls to Castellanos, do you think he had a chance at either of those?
The first one, I think he just got a bad read on it and broke the wrong way. Second one was a little bit tougher, but it was like that play he made the other night, and it would have been like the play he made the other night in CVP. But I thought there were some plays that we had a chance to make and we didn't.
And then what do you think he needs to get going offensively, Castellanos?
Stay back. Let the ball get to him.
Do you think he's pressing right now or trying too hard, or because he's really?
I don't think Nick ever presses.
No, yeah.
I don't think he presses. I just think his timing's off a little bit.
Disappointed that you weren't able to take more advantage of 9 walks and a hit batter?
Yeah, you have 18 base runners, I guess, really, and usually that's more than the amount of runs we scored. So, we had some opportunities that didn't come through.
Well, Trey and Nick are kind of trying to sort their thing out. Is there any, JT in the 2-hole or anything like that? Would you consider or not?
I don't think so. I think I'll leave Castor right there. I mean, I like Bohm and Stott where they're at because they're going to put the ball in play with runners in scoring position. We got to get Castor going. That's all.
I know he'll probably be in there tomorrow because you're facing a lefty, but do you feel like you're getting to the point maybe where Rojas should be playing a little more? What's your read on him?
Yeah, I mean, he's having good at bats. He's playing well. Now, you know, we're going to ease him into this thing so we don't overexpose him if there's a chance of that, you know, and pick our spots to play him. But he'll be in there tomorrow. And, I like what I see. I really do.
What do you say? I mean, one game. It's just one game, but Turner's at bats tonight. See anything?
I think the last couple were better. You know, you got the base hit and the walk. You know, he comes up with the bases loaded and kind of chases a little bit. But, you know, it's a little bit better. It's just one night, though.
Harper back to DH tomorrow?
Yes.